Hello everyone and welcome back to my long forgotten, get it because we're in the forgotten capital, let's play of Final Fantasy VII. I cannot believe I stopped at this point. I stopped right before the point, the actual end of disc 1 for Final Fantasy VII. It just came down to the fact that since this is a post-recorded series, it's not like I had a pressing need to go back if I wanted to play more. I pretty much binged this game when I first played it. So hi, if you're tuning in for the first time, boy, you sure picked a part to come in on. We are going to be checking out the capital of the ancients here, or the city of the Cetra, as some would say, to see where Aerith might have gone. This is, of course, because new Final Fantasy VII Remake stuff came out, and I said, boy, geez, I would sure like to return to that game. And then I thought, wait, I have a whole Let's Play to still commentate the second half of which the first half I feel I remember a lot of, and the second half, not so much. So we got an Aurora armlet there. That's a really good equipment item, for defense at least. So we're going to put that on someone who I cut away from, because you do not want to see me. I cut away a lot of menus here. There is a lot of me finagling around with the menus, trying to figure out where the heck I need to, trying to get everyone set up. So let's take a look at this place. Wow, that looks like a important thing for later, right? So this is supposed to be where the ancients are, where the ancients lived long ago. And it doesn't look very city-like by what we know cities as in the Final Fantasy world. But if you're asking me, it reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy X's kind of ruiny cities that we see in that game. Which, of course, for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who are new here, Final Fantasy X is, of course, a long distant prequel to Final Fantasy VII, by a couple thousand to 10,000 years. So that's a fun fact of the Ultimania, which are actually available now. Also, these lights they hurt us. We don't like them. Cloud is not used to them. The seashell houses here are really cool. Remind me quite a bit of like Mario Sunshine. There's actually been a lot of Final Fantasy VII stuff that's come out since the last video, like for instance the Final Fantasy VII On the Way to a Smile novel. I actually have it. It is the novel sequel set between Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, of which I have not read yet. Should I get to reading it? Probably. But at the same time, it might be overwritten in the canon soon, because apparently the compilation stuff is so far not canon to Final Fantasy VII Remake, which, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a new Star Wars, old Star Wars thing. Does it really matter? I don't know. Anyways, we have the two most fitting party members here. Yuffie, who is now going to be, by the way, this Let's Play's mascot. I don't know if my art of her will be in the first part, because we kind of have a pretty big part where things happen, so I don't think I'll put her in there. But for those of you who've been following a bit of the drama, that, oh yeah, we feel the cosmos. Yuffie is not a very fitting party member to be here, or Kachi at that point. It's, for those of you who might have been following the drama, the guy who I got to do my awesome art of Tifa and Aerith, when I asked to make art for me for Yuffie, just took my money and blocked me. Mind you, it was only $25, and for what it's worth, I probably did underpay him for the art. I mean, the art was really good, but it turned me off coming back to this game. But thankfully, I got some really good art by one Dax Gordine, the illustrator for the Bravo Man comics that were on Shifty Look, R.I.P. Shifty Look. Putting my fingers to the heaven for you, brother. As well as he does Udon stuff, so I got someone real cool and real wholesome, so that's good to see here. But Aerith's here, Sephiroth's here, we gotta try and find our way down, and this place is confusing. So one other thing that I did was, during this time, give this game to my friend Adrian to play. He has not played Final Fantasy VII. He actually got it like long ago when he originally, when this first came out, he bought it because Cloud was in Smash and he wanted to see Cloud in Smash. So then he got it and then never played it. And so for the podcast, I gave him it to play. You can watch the stream archive on twitch.tv/age1000, or you can listen to his thoughts on it on our podcast, Ships Worldwide. Go to the one labeled as Ships Worldwide Final Fantasy VII. And he gave me Hot Wheels Acceleracers to look at, so that is something. But let's go on in here to the City of the Ancients through the coral here. What a cool looking area. Like, were the ancients mermaids? Because they kind of lived underground, it looks like. And with, like, or underwater with, like, seashells and stuff. It's real cool looking. You know, it's kind of crazy because why are they here? Were there giant fish things? I don't know. But as we go down, or go up first, this cool coral area, we find ourselves a materia being Comet. Comet being essentially this game's version of Meteor. Because for those of you who might know, Meteor works a bit differently. Also, this area is a bit strange to think about how it actually is. It's like you see it on the PS1 and you're like, yeah, of course, this is like what, you know, it's like a castle, but are we underground? Are we in like a void? I don't know. It'd be really interesting again to see these brought into the full HD. Whether this will be the end of Disc 1 of the Final Fantasy VII Remake or later on, who knows? Again, I apologize for picking the least, the least fitting party members here, but hey, maybe I'm showing off something that no one's ever done before. So hey, there's Aerith. We should go save her, right? So let's go hop on up. You know, we're in full control of this situation. She's just sitting there and praying. What could go wrong? I mean, aside from if you've been following the plot. Oh boy, this is a loaded screen here for sure. Uh-oh. Cloud's got a bit of that red-eye fever. And, yeah, that music change is a bit worrying. So go up and talk to her. And, woohoo, Cloud, bud, what are you doing? Buddy pal, why do we got our sword out? Why we got the Buster Sword? Which is very ironic when you learn where that Buster Sword came from at this point, buddy. And so you can walk around with it, but you can't leave. And then you press X on her and you can't press anything. You press X and you gotta do it. You gotta do this here. The player is left without a choice. You're not in control of your own body. What is going on, Cloud? What are you doing? And then Yuffie, who again is not really fitting for this situation. And here's the shot. Like, it cannot be understated. It can't be understated just how big of a scene this is for gaming, right? Like, the emotional weight of that one FMV is huge, right? Can you imagine all the children playing this game thinking, you know, and this is breaks grounds. I mean, you could argue that, A, there's been Final Fantasy characters who've died before. Like, for example, In Final Fantasy V, there's a party member who permanently dies. In Final Fantasy, I think, 2, there's one. And even Chrono Trigger, you have a party member death. But here's the thing. I think it's because this is the first one with widespread appeal. I had friends who were not at all RPG gamers, but they all had Final Fantasy VII, and, like, I want to hope that they got something from this. They got a feeling of, you know, pain and loss, and then hopefully, again, there's a really good documentary out there, which is the Final Fantasy. I don't know if they're still up, because they featured, oh, they might not be up anymore, but The Completionist did an amazing series on what Final Fantasy VII means, and its themes of loss and getting over loss, right? And I hope they felt that. I don't know if those videos are still up, which is a shame, because they are really good. But if you know more about Final Fantasy VII's story, like deeper than what it is, as we'll just see in a second, the sad thing is, it's not even technically Sephiroth that kills Aerith. Because as we've seen once before, and we'll see soon again, this is not Sephiroth. This is a Sephiroth clone. Now, whether Sephiroth clones are being controlled by Sephiroth, we don't know. We will need... Also, that would explain why they fly around and stuff. As you can see, because he dropped this. So did he drop... So was that Sephiroth, was that a clone that then kind of dropped down this part of it? We don't know, right? Like, from what I can tell, it's not Sephiroth, and the real Sephiroth is still in the well, as we'll see later, he's in the glacier. So I don't know, but anyways, this here is Jenova Life. Ironically, of course, Jenova Life. This Jenova has a few interesting things here. For one, all of its attacks are water-based, so if you give a party member the water armlet that we got there, nothing will hurt them at all. There's also an interesting thing where once you kill Jenova Life here, the Aerith Ghost event will occur the next time you go to the church, which I didn't know about till I popped up this Wikipedia page. Because I was talking about how, oh, if you go into the church, you'll see Aerith for a second, and I thought that was the Aerith Ghost. But instead, that's a glitch. The real Aerith Ghost is apparently, and I'm reading here because I've never seen this, apparently if you stand on, it says, when returning to Midgar after Cloud Strife rejoins the party, which we'll see later, Aerith comes into view on the flower bed. She flickers and disappears when the player moves across a certain spot on the ground or attempts to leave the church. Moving across the spot when approaching the scene cancels the event permanently, as it is a one-time thing. I don't know if I see this actually, but it's really interesting because what I thought was this ghost was not, and then there actually turns out to be. But yes, as my playthrough of this game goes, we do pretty much break this game with the ability to use enemy magic. If I were to replay this game, I would try to not use enemy magic, and oh boy, catch you with the dice, this could go badly. So thankfully, we didn't get anything too bad with him. That was actually a lot of damage, which is quite nice. But it's very easy for Ketchy to kill the party, especially with some of his later ones, which is not fun. But yeah, we did get Comet and everything, so we get to use those. Or we could just use our wonderful enemy magic, which is so useful. And it is interesting that this is one of the few boss fights where there is no win theme. I don't even know if they win pose. I don't think so. And the normally awesome and, you know, played quite a bit Jenova boss theme, which is Jenova, is not played here. So one thing that I've talked about this before, but it's been a while, that I really hope for the remake is I do hope we get more of an explanation and a better translation on some stuff, such as, is this the Sephiroth clone that stabbed Aerith? Is that dropped by another Sephiroth clone? What exactly happens, right? There's still some mystery to Final Fantasy VII that I hope to see explained, and from what it looks like, there looks to be some big changes. So if that's the case, I'm excited to see how they recontextualize the story for that stuff, if they, you know, change it up as they seem to be doing. Thankfully, the gameplay, though, has been looking to be changed up to be way more Final Fantasy, with basically using the ATB to do your big attacks with, you know, you can do little tiny hits during it. We keep trying to manipulate, but it doesn't really work, but it's fine. We've won. No victory theme, no victory pose. We just have to get through this and, you know, beat up this boss. Well, we're all sad. Thankfully, we do get a wizard bracelet. It does let us cast Magic Missile. That's a joke. That's not a thing in the game. And we just have to move on, literally. So Genova here, dying, says we're a puppet. Huh? I mean, we've had a couple things where we've kind of seen ourselves being pulled like strings, right? And boy, I sure picked... again, 2 party members that are not as emotionally involved with this scene as they should be. But I think it's interesting for most people who would do this with the characters they think would be most fitting, because everyone knows what happens here. And I actually really like just the level of emotion that can come from these Popeye figures moving around, right? That is probably the best low poly hug I've ever seen, right? It's really good. You don't even need to have facial expressions to know that she's ballin'. And Ketchy does a dance. Very fitting, bud. Thanks. You are not... Oh, so you can see he's trying to cheer Cloud up, and it doesn't work because literally one of his friends died in front of his eyes. Not the time now, bud. Not the time. Obviously, other characters would have different reactions at this point. Boy, what a way to end a Disc 1, huh? It is poignant. And then, again, another iconic scene. One that some players, again, would believe is the kind of the apex of this game for the emotion, for what it made them feel. I wonder if there was kids who had to even put it down at this point, right? Because this would make people sad. He even takes her braid out and lets her fall down. Big moment for sure. And even her falling pose is almost angelic, you know, with her hair almost making a crest behind her. It's powerful. It's powerful. Square Enix was at the front for storytelling on this, for the feelings that you get with a player. So Cloud's given us a bit of his backstory. We knew that. Yeah? So yeah, I think Cloud's starting to clue in that things are not as they seem. Seems a bit, broken, in a way. Which, again, makes sense when we learn what happens. Yeah, I think it would have been way worse if Cloud was the one to do the deed. And hey, can you imagine if in the remake they change it so Cloud does do it? Like Square Enix throws a curveball, right? That would be crazy. So, we're reinstating this journey though. We gotta go, and we gotta stop Sephiroth. And to get there, we have to go way up north. So let's ask these 2 people who we barely know to come do it with the... Oh, you know, having Tifa and Barrett here probably would have made for a more thematically strong scene, but everyone does that. I'm throwing a curveball myself, much like I fully expect Square Enix to. And with that, Disc 1 is over. Or if you are playing on the PS4 or Switch, as it is now out like I do, you would know that this is, yeah, this is a, part 1 it's labeled as, because there's no discs, and we can move right along to what comes after. It's always an interesting thing on how do they handle disc switches in games when they're re-released, and this one just treats it as part 1 with a save point, so that's good. And oh boy, our Sepia filter with Sepia Roth is up there. Cloud's starting to freak out, and he's like, boy, I'm having them feelings again. So yeah, we gotta head north past the snowfields, or as I like to call them, my backyard for most of the year. I will warn you, there is a section up here where my internet just, or not my internet, but my recording device just explodes. And in doing so, we have to skip a little bit, just a platforming here. And we jump up here, and I'm like, oh dang, did I forget that item? So we hop all the way back down. Oh, these rendered backdrops are so good, but at the same time, sometimes so tough to tell where you can actually go. Like, can I go there? I'm just rubbing up against every wall, hoping to try and find how I get up there. And there we go. And I cut a long battle where I fight some, what are they called here? They're called the, I had the name here. Trick plays. They are little, which are trick prey is what they should be. Trick prey. They are little dudes in the ground, and I kept trying to manipulate them, and they would not. Because I was trying to get level 4 suicide from them. But, nope. Couldn't get them. So, that's fine. There's only 2 enemies here. There's Trick Play, which is like the little squirrels in the ground, which, are kind of common-looking enemies for various Final Fantasies. I fought them in Crystal Chronicles a lot, which was my first Final Fantasy I owned. Those bound fats, the little hedgehog recolors that can do, if I read here, they can do Death Sentence if you attack them with a magic spell, and that's how you get Death Sentence. That's pretty cool. They're best known for a reliable source of dazers. What are dazers? Dazers are, they cause paralysis on one target. That's pretty good, and apparently, the item's paralysis effect works on the super boss. I did not know that. Paralyzing a super boss, huh? Very interesting. These are the bound fats I was talking about, so if you want a way to get Ruby Weapon done pretty easy, who is the super boss. I don't think we actually fight Ruby Weapon in this playthrough. You can get them from these guys, and then, paralyze him, which is crazy. Yeah, they're a recolor of the Hedgehog Pie enemies, which are another iconic enemy for sure. At least for me. There's a couple Final Fantasy enemies that are far from iconic, but at the same time, also, hey, shoutouts to me manipulating him and then totally screwing it up. There's a couple enemies that I would say are iconic, and at the same time, I know that they're not for other people, but they are for me. So we can cast Death Sentence as our spell, and I tried Dark Needle, and that is not one I can get. So, oh well. I dumbly do not cast Death Sentence on me and do not get it. It's okay. We make those mistakes. I don't think I was even using a guide at that point for that, which is a problem, because there's a lot to this game that is honestly, in my eyes, enhanced by playing with a guide. Because there's just so much that you're like, I don't know if I can do that. Yeah, so it's in this section here where about halfway through my recorder dies, so I start skipping. I can tell you, and you don't get to see me picking up the items here. There's a few good items. Let me explain here. So yeah, you basically get to climb up, hop around. Some of the items you can find here include a Hypno Crown, which is really good. It makes your manipulate chance go high up, which you really want for those encounters with enemies that you need to. I don't remember these dudes because it's a different area, I think. Little imp dudes. Yeah, if you want to use manipulate to get the enemy skills, the Hypno Crown really helps. You also find a Mega Elixir, which is of course an item everyone will always be too afraid to use. There's also Magic Plus material, which is real good for getting that sick magic up, and a power source. So, what are these dudes? I don't even think I remember clicking on what they are, because they are in a separate area. So this area we're in is the not the icicle area, but oh boy, I didn't come prepared. Awesome. Great. I love it. I'm looking around. That's okay. We're fine here. Alright, there we go. Yeah, it's right around here that I'm like, yeah, for sure, let's just explore this whole place. And it doesn't help that when I'm playing this game and when I was recording it, I pretty much just played it and then kept my computer on the side and had it run and record it just while I was playing, and then I'd have to look occasionally and be like, uh-oh, it's freaking out again. So yeah, then my recorder died, and we pretty much jump right in halfway to this battle with these dudes, these ghost-looking dudes, which I just repeatedly punch right in the face. Cast Mini, Ketchi is now the size of what a Moogle should be in this universe. Will we learn that Ketchi's Moogle thing is a giant weird freakazoid? Probably. I would be fine if they remodeled his big Moogle, because I'm not a big fan of it, honestly. It's a bit weird. But yeah, we're all the way at the end because I caught on a little late that it was broken here. So, with us leaving this area, thank you guys for watching, and next time we'll be back to head up to the snowboarding minigame. We'll see you then for some more, guys. Ciao.